Have you ever felt the crushing weight of expectation in a room full of your own blood? Have you ever felt more alone at a family gathering than in the deepest solitude? Do you find that the very environment meant to represent comfort is often the primary source of your psychic exhaustion? This isn't a flaw in your character. It is a feature of your design, a sign that you operate on a different frequency. Welcome, gentlemen, to the Sigma male community, the one place that understands that true strength isn't found in conformity, but in the deliberate cultivation of a sovereign self. Today we are not here to offer apologies or seek approval. We are here to dissect a truth that society refuses to acknowledge: the profound, strategic, and often necessary reasons why a Sigma male maintains a deliberate distance from his own family, not as an act of rejection, but as an act of supreme self-preservation. 1. The sanctuary of silence, solitude as a survival strategy. For the man who walks the path of the Sigma, solitude is not merely a preference. It is the very bedrock of his mental and spiritual architecture, the sacred forge where his true strength is tempered. Family environments, often saturated with a relentless barrage of predictable chatter, unsolicited opinions, and the hollow performance of forced merriment, are not just draining, they are actively corrosive to the deep, analytical thought processes and essential emotional recalibration that a Sigma requires to function at his peak. This deliberate retreat into silence is not antisocial hibernation or a petulant withdrawal from the world. It is the conscious and strategic preservation of the inner sanctum, the one place where unfiltered clarity can be forged, where complex strategies for life and work can be honed, and where the authentic self is vigilantly preserved against the chaotic entropy of collective noise. Without these sustained periods of profound, undisturbed quiet, the Sigma feels his edge dull, his vision blur, and his purpose lose its sharp resolution. Distance, therefore, becomes the necessary firewall, a non-negotiable barrier protecting the core of his being from the relentless static of obligatory familial interaction. Think of the Sigma's mind as a deep-sea submersible, built to withstand immense pressure and explore depths others cannot even fathom. The surface-level banter and emotional currents of a typical family dynamic feel like a suffocating pressure to a mind that is wired for these profound, introspective dives. He doesn't simply enjoy his solitude. He fundamentally depends on it in the same way a diver depends on oxygen. The decision to skip the annual reunion or let the weekly family call go unanswered is not an act of neglect or malice. It is a non-negotiable maintenance cycle for a high-performance psyche that operates on a frequency most family systems are simply incapable of broadcasting or understanding. He is not avoiding them. He is servicing the very machine that allows him to navigate the world with precision and power. 2. The unbending code, independence over inherited obligation. You must obliterate the deeply ingrained societal guilt trip that screams, blood is thicker than water. For the Sigma male, personal autonomy is the ultimate, non-depreciating currency, its value far exceeding the counterfeit notes of tradition or unearned expectation. Family structures, no matter how well-intentioned they may appear on the surface, often function as intricate and invisible webs of unspoken rules. Subtle but powerful demands on his time, pressures for conformity and belief, and the silent insistence that he adhere to a role that was scripted long before he had the consciousness to choose his own. To his discerning eye, these are not the warm bonds of kinship. They are sophisticated shackles disguised as love, designed to keep him predictable and compliant. The Sigma recognizes the relentless pressure to perform, to attend, to agree, not as genuine affection, but as a subtle and persistent theft of his most prized possession: his sovereign right to self-determination. He does not reject his family out of coldness or malice. He rejects the flawed and dangerous premise that shared genetics automatically grants others a license to dictate the trajectory of his life. Every interaction is a careful negotiation. Visits become carefully managed ceasefires where his terms are respected. His personal boundaries are treated as non-negotiable international borders, and the simple word no is wielded not with aggression, but with a quiet, unshakable conviction that requires no further explanation. This fierce, uncompromising protection of his independence is not a sign of a cold heart. It is the ultimate act of self-respect in a world that relentlessly demands conformity from cradle to grave. He steadfastly refuses to live a borrowed life, even if the lenders share his last name. 3. The architect of trust, radical selectivity in connection. Let this be understood with absolute clarity. Blood relation is merely an accident of birth. and it is certainly not an automatic VIP pass into the fortified inner circle of a Sigma male. His trust, his time, and his invaluable energy are meticulously curated resources, commodities granted only to those rare individuals who demonstrably earn them through consistent mutual respect, authentic and transparent interaction, and a complete absence of the draining, cyclical drama that poisons so many relationships. The toxic dynamics, the emotional blackmail thinly disguised as loving concern, or the relentless, soul-crushing criticism that are shockingly common within family ecosystems, these are immediate and permanent disqualifiers for any meaningful connection. The Sigma understands a core truth that escapes most: he does not owe anyone his closeness. He chooses it, based on a rigorous and ongoing assessment of a relationship's actual tangible value to his peace, his purpose, and his personal growth. This principle manifests as a form of discernment that the uninitiated would label as ruthless. He will deliberately bypass the obligatory birthday gathering buzzing with superficiality and meaningless pleasantries, yet will clear his schedule to make time for the one cousin who offers a genuine, pressure-free conversation that engages his mind. His social circle is intentionally small, a fortress built by fierce, intelligent design, engineered to protect his mental and emotional equilibrium from the chaos of the outside world. His attendance at any function is never automatic. It is always a calculated decision based on a simple, powerful question: does this interaction fortify me or deplete me? If the answer isn't a resounding, unequivocal fortify, his absence will speak volumes. This isn't rejection. It is the practice of supreme, intelligent selectivity in a world drowning in meaningless connections. 4. The inner citadel, unshakable emotional self-reliance. Sigma males are not desolate islands pathetically yearning for bridges to be built to them. They are entirely self-contained fortresses, complete with their own power, water, and defense systems. They process life's inevitable storms internally, drawing immense strength from the deep, quiet reserves they have cultivated within themselves, not by desperately seeking external validation or comfort from others. The very concept of family, so often the epicenter of shared emotional burdens and unspoken expectations of mutual leaning, fundamentally clashes with this internal architecture of radical self-reliance. The Sigma doesn't open up on demand, nor does he participate in the emotional bidding wars that are often fueled by guilt, manufactured drama, or a sense of obligation. His inner world is a private, sovereign domain, a place meticulously guarded from casual tourists and emotional trespassers. This profound self-sufficiency is almost always misread by outsiders, particularly family, as cold detachment, arrogance, or a glaring lack of trust. It is none of these things. It is, in fact, a form of profound resilience, a stoic refusal to outsource his emotional stability to the volatile opinions and feelings of others. When hardship strikes, his instinct is not to run towards others, but to retreat inward, to analyze the situation with cold logic, and to rebuild his foundations alone. Family members' pleas for him to display shared vulnerability often feel like an invasion, not a compassionate invitation. He will not perform emotional labor simply to ease their anxieties about his quiet, unshakable strength. This inherent self-containment creates an invisible but impenetrable barrier, not to keep love out, but to ensure that his emotional sovereignty remains inviolate, even amidst the powerful gravitational pull of familial expectations of entanglement. 5. The purpose compass, navigating by internal coordinates. Every single action, every commitment of time, and every ounce of precious energy expended by a Sigma male is meticulously filtered through a singular, non-negotiable question: does this serve my core purpose? The relentless stream of family demands, the incessant, often meaningless phone calls, the guilt-laden invitations to visits, the heavy expectation to participate in rituals that feel devoid of any personal meaning, are all evaluated with this ruthless and efficient pragmatism. If a specific interaction or obligation threatens to derail his focus, drain the vital mental and emotional resources he needs for his true mission, or force him into a state of inauthentic performance, it is systematically rejected. This rejection is not born from selfishness or a lack of care, but from an ironclad, unwavering commitment to the unique path he has chosen for himself. This purpose-driven existence inevitably makes him seem aloof, distant, or even dismissive to a family that is deeply steeped in routine, tradition, and obligation for their own sake. He will not sacrifice a critical phase of his work or a period of intense personal development for a casual family reunion that offers him nothing but distraction. He refuses to engage in the draining, low-frequency gossip that circulates within families, as it serves no purpose for his growth. His time is a finite, precious commodity, a strategic asset to be invested only in those endeavors that align perfectly with his internal blueprint. The distance he maintains is not personal. It is the necessary strategic space he must create to ensure that his life's trajectory is not hijacked or diverted by the powerful, often suffocating gravitational pull of familial shoulds and musts. He is busy building his own legacy, not simply perpetuating theirs. Let's shatter the most pervasive illusion right here and now, whether you resonate as a Sigma or you're simply trying to decode one. That perceived distance, that quiet withdrawal you witness? It is not a lack of loyalty. It is loyalty entirely redefined on fiercely personal and uncompromising terms. Society, and by extension most families, screams from the rooftops that loyalty means blind, unquestioning adherence, forced physical proximity, and the silent swallowing of dysfunction simply because it's family. The Sigma male takes that script, crumples it up, and sets it on fire. His loyalty is to something higher. It is a loyalty to the truth of his own spirit, the truth of a mutually respectful connection, and the profound truth that real, unbreakable bonds are never chains. He will stand unwavering and go to war for the right things for the right people, but always and only on his terms. If your definition of family loyalty demands his self-betrayal, then you never truly understood him at all. That space he creates? That is the sacred arena where his authentic, powerful loyalty is forged, pure and uncompromised. 6. The authenticity imperative. Rejecting the assigned script. From the moment of birth, families begin the subtle but powerful process of casting roles. You are the responsible one, you are the wild child, you are the designated peacekeeper. The Sigma male looks at this pre-written script, recognizes it as a cage and systematically shreds it. He fundamentally refuses to play a character that has been written for him by others, regardless of how deeply entrenched that role is in tradition or family expectation. This inherent and powerful nonconformity isn't a childish rebellion designed to garner attention. It is the visceral, instinctual rejection of inauthenticity in all its forms. If family traditions feel hollow and meaningless, if the beliefs being imposed upon him seem illogical, or if the expected career paths feel like prisons of the soul, he will deviate from them silently, steadfastly, and without apology. For the Sigma, fitting into a mold he did not create is a fate far worse than the deepest solitude. This unwavering commitment to his own truth creates inevitable friction and discomfort. Family gatherings transform into emotional minefields of unspoken pressure, where his mere presence, quiet, observant, and utterly unwilling to perform the expected role, becomes a silent but powerful challenge to the entire family's status quo. He often becomes the black sheep, not through any deliberate provocation or malice, but through the simple, unyielding act of existing as his authentic self. The distance he carefully maintains is not a rejection of the people themselves, it is a rejection of the role they relentlessly keep trying to force him back into. He must step back and create space to preserve the sacred integrity of his own life's narrative, refusing to be reduced to a mere supporting actor in someone else's poorly written play. 7. The energy economy, preserving vital reserves. Sigma males operate with a constant and keen awareness of their finite energetic and psychic resources. Unlike the social batteries of extroverts that seem to recharge in crowds, the Sigma's battery depletes with alarming rapidity amidst the sensory and emotional overload that is common in most large family settings. The cacophony of overlapping conversations, the exhausting performance of superficial niceties, and the unresolved historical tensions that hum just beneath the surface of every interaction. What others might genuinely call quality time, feels to the Sigma like a draining psychic tax, a heavy toll levied upon his mental clarity and inner peace. Prolonged exposure to this environment leaves him feeling utterly exhausted and depleted, not enriched or uplifted. Distance, therefore, is not a form of emotional neglect. It is an essential and intelligent strategy for energy management. It's the deliberate conservation of the vital force he needs for his true pursuits, for his deep and focused thinking, and for the few high-quality connections he has chosen to cultivate. He meticulously audits every potential interaction with a simple, pragmatic question. Will this interaction replenish my energy or deplete it? Family obligations, with their inherent demands and emotional complexities, almost always fall squarely into the latter category. Skipping the chaotic holiday meal isn't a sign of apathy. It is a strategic and necessary withdrawal to preserve the cognitive and emotional fuel required to function at his peak performance. He protects his energy like a vault, because he intimately understands its scarcity and its critical value in achieving his life's mission. 8. The boundary fortress, enforcing non-negotiable lines. For the Sigma male, personal boundaries are not polite suggestions or flexible guidelines. They are the unassailable, electrified walls of his personal sovereignty. Family, however, often operates with an inherent and unspoken sense of entitlement, a deep-seated belief that the accident of kinship grants them special privileges to cross those lines, to demand his time without notice, to offer unsolicited and often unhelpful advice, or to ignore his need for personal space. The Sigma meets this invasive behavior not with loud arguments or dramatic confrontations, but with immovable, silent enforcement. He communicates his boundaries not through extensive negotiation, but through clear and consistent action. Visits are kept shorter, contact becomes more limited and intentional, and he will make a swift, decisive exit the moment a line has been clearly crossed. This unwavering defense of his personal space is frequently and mistakenly labeled by family members as coldness, rigidity, or an unwillingness to connect. In reality, it is a fundamental act of self-preservation. He understands on a primal level that blurred and disrespected boundaries inevitably lead to resentment, the erosion of his identity, and the theft of his inner peace. The distance he deliberately creates is the necessary buffer zone, the demilitarized territory that enforces these vital lines of defense. If a family member proves incapable of respecting the fortress walls, by relentlessly demanding access to his time, his emotions, or his private decisions, the Sigma doesn't engage in a battle. He simply increases the distance, reinforcing the ramparts and securing his inner world. His peace is non-negotiable territory. 9. The clarity of non-attachment, freedom from emotional blackmail. One of the most powerful and misunderstood traits of the Sigma male is his remarkable immunity to the emotional leverage and psychological manipulation that are so often wielded within family dynamics, tactics like guilt, obligation, and a distorted sense of duty. He sees these tools for what they are with piercing clarity. They are levers used to manipulate behavior, enforce conformity, and maintain a dysfunctional status quo. The classic tools of emotional blackmail, the strategically deployed tears, the heavy sighs of disappointment, the dramatic pronouncements of family duty, do not trigger compliance in him, they trigger detachment. The Sigma fundamentally refuses to allow his choices and his life's direction to be dictated by another person's emotional state or their unfulfilled expectations. This profound non-attachment to the emotional pressure of his family is both liberating and isolating. While others in the family may feel chained by the constant fear of letting someone down, of being judged, or of causing disappointment, the Sigma simply opts out of the game. He can acknowledge their feelings from a distance, but he does not internalize them as his own responsibility to manage or fix. His no remains a no, even when it is met with a trembling lip or a guilt-inducing story on the other end of the phone. The distance he maintains is, in large part, a highly effective shield against this relentless emotional weather system. He will not be guilted into proximity or participation. His actions will always stem from his own internal alignment, never from external emotional coercion. 10. The pursuit of unfiltered growth, escaping the echo chamber. Families, often unconsciously but sometimes with deliberate intent, seek to keep their members locked within familiar, predictable patterns of behavior, the established roles and comfortable narratives that were created long ago. For a Sigma male who is committed to a life of relentless evolution and self-improvement, this kind of environment is not just unhelpful, it is dangerously stifling. He knows instinctively that prolonged proximity to this system risks stagnation, the unconscious absorption of limiting beliefs, or being subtly pulled back into outdated versions of himself that he has consciously and painfully outgrown. The common family accusation, "You've changed," is not received as an insult. To the Sigma, it is a badge of honor, a clear sign of his successful escape from the mold they tried to cast for him. Distance, therefore, becomes the essential and non-negotiable condition for his unfiltered personal growth. It allows him the precious space to shed the heavy skin of familial expectations and to define himself solely by his own evolving standards and principles, far away from the constant dampening effect of their judgment, their misunderstanding, or their fear of his transformation. He needs the space to explore new philosophies, to experiment with different lifestyles, and to forge new identities that might clash violently with the family's core values, and to do so free from their commentary. Growth, for the Sigma, often requires a deliberate geographical or emotional migration away from his point of origin, creating the necessary vacuum for his new self to emerge. 11. The Sovereign Peace Treaty, prioritizing inner harmony above all. Ultimately, if you strip away all the layers of strategy, philosophy, and psychological necessity, the Sigma male's distance from his family comes down to one supreme, overriding principle. It is the peace treaty he signs with himself. The chaotic pursuit of external harmony, especially the complex, often discordant and emotionally draining symphony of family life, is a goal he is willing to ruthlessly sacrifice on the sacred altar of his own inner tranquility. He has developed a zero-tolerance policy for the low-grade anxiety, the simmering resentments, the unspoken competitions, or the outright chaos that so frequently permeate family dynamics. His inner peace is the ultimate metric, the non-negotiable foundation upon which his entire life, his work, and his sanity are built. This is not selfishness. It is the highest form of sanity in a world that often rewards dysfunction. He recognizes that enduring constant familial friction for the sake of appearances or a misguided sense of obligation is a slow-acting poison to the soul. The space he creates around himself is a demilitarized zone, a vital buffer against the noise and emotional pollution of the outside world, a sanctuary where his mind can achieve the profound stillness it craves and requires. If maintaining a close relationship with his family means sacrificing this hard-won inner equilibrium, the choice for him is starkly, brutally clear. He will always protect the peace and by extension protect the self. The distance he maintains is the quiet, unyielding declaration that his mental serenity is worth more than any societal expectation or family tradition. He builds his own sanctuary first and foremost. Everything else in his life is and always will be secondary. The path of the Sigma is not one of ease, but one of profound intention. The distance we've explored today isn't about building walls of hate, but about constructing the foundations of a fortress of self-respect, inner peace, and unwavering purpose. It's about understanding that your energy is your most valuable currency, and you have every right to be the sole signatory on that account. This is the code we live by. This is the understanding we cultivate here at the Sigma Male community. If this resonated with you, if you felt a flicker of recognition in the deepest parts of your own spirit, then you are in the right place. Don't just watch and walk away. Take this knowledge and let it fortify your resolve. Reflect on your own boundaries, your own purpose, and your own non-negotiable peace. Fuel this community of sovereign minds by hitting that like button, share this video with a man who needs to hear it, and if you haven't already, subscribe and ring that notification bell. Because our work here is far from over. Your journey is just beginning. Let us know in the comments which of these reasons hit home the hardest. Stay sharp, stay sovereign, and stay true to the path. Share this video with friends.